Oh, you know we gotta let it rock for episode 13.
You're feeling so subdued. By my side, you're breathing slow. And I'm making sure to touch you while there's nobody that's close. Yeah, I'm sitting in the front row. My attention's moving south. Yeah, and can't you let me explore? Tell me when and tell me how. See, get me to the place of ours. Give me the time, give me direction. Follow when you're far tonight. Find me sign, always protection. Relax the way they say, why don't you sit back? If you move that side, anything that you need, let me know I got you. Sit back.
Hey girls, let's get into it early. I've taken a break for the last couple days, but that does not mean that this is not moving forward. But let's get into it early. The thing about it is, after listening back to the last couple episodes, again, it's just I need to start understanding and balancing this other side of myself. Really, I am mainly Cupid, but over the last episodes, we've gotten into the pitbull. Oh, are you scared? I kind of am. I ran into a pitbull the other day. Actually, it was the day before I started this project, and I was on my walk. I take my walk to de-escalate. It's been kind of crazy because it gets a little lonely living by yourself and being on your own and being single with like 7 ex-relationships and other friends who are trying to come in and take your time, and you're just like, I just want to be alone right now. It was a motherfucking pandemic, and we're having to deal with the post-trauma of that. Self-care, chlorella, kale, and kiss my ass. So I went on my walk, and it was so cool because I was on it. It was so peaceful, and then there was just a little bit of a fearful moment for me. It was a stray pit bull, and she came up to me. Not aggressive at all. She had a yellow cross on her head, and her fingernails were painted pink. I think I know which house she came from, but that wasn't my business. I just kept walking. I wasn't going to run from the pit bull, because once you run from the pit bull runs back. So I keep on going, and it did kind of become this animal control concern, because this pit bull was just following me for blocks and came up by my side and brushed up against my leg and kept on walking with me like she was mine. And I didn't know what to do, because there was totally fear, for sure. I walk for miles. You know what I'm saying? I be walking for miles. I be walking 100 miles. And, I walk hundreds of miles because for my self-care. Oh, I might find myself in another state one day, and they'll be like, hey, Forrest, you got your ID? And that's when I'll say what I always say: if you want to get in my business, then we can get into this business. You feel me? But I was just on a peaceful walk, having the greatest time. Welcome to the Cupid and the Pitbull podcast, episode 13. Oh, and we are on YouTube today, y'all. The pit bull followed me until we got a block away from my home, and I turned to the pit bull, and that's when I had to get my Eddie Murphy Dr. Dolittle on proper. And it was clear. I said, girl, you're not mine. and you need to go. Okay? So I'm going to leave you here, and I want you to sit while I walk away. And at first she didn't listen, and she kept on following me, and I said, you're not listening, and you're kind of stressing me out. I might run, but I don't want to do that. Sit your ass down. If we're supposed to meet in the future, then we will. And it worked. And I got back to my home and started this podcast, and then went through what was it, 11 episodes straight. Then ended up running into the Maven and just becoming exhausted and listening back to these episodes and being like, what the fuck is this? What are we talking about? When are you going to make this make sense? When are you going to tell the people what the Cupid and the Pitbull podcast is about? So I needed quiet. And in the quiet comes clarity. Now, you can't get quiet without questions. You can't get peace without a process. Sometimes that process is quite painful. But once you taste that peace and that clarity, a good analogy of this is, you want to do a magic trick real quick? Let's do one. Imagine yourself in a crowd. It's at a rave. And you see someone who you have never seen before, and they want to talk to you. Oh, they think you're beautiful. You think they're beautiful. It could be a one-night stand. It could be a whole relation. It could be a marriage. It could be an ex-relationship. But in this moment, you just want to talk to them. And you're like, hey! And they say, hey! And then they say something that you can't understand because everybody else is talking. And then you try to guess what they're saying, and then you try to talk back, and you can tell that they can't hear what you're saying. And it becomes dysfunctional. Now you have a choice. You could walk away, or you could look at the crowd and do a little spin and call up to the clouds and say, clouds, earth and universe, come down and clear the rest of these hoes. I can't hear what my soulmate is saying. The clouds are saying, well, we could do that. I mean, it might cause some casualties. It might be kind of stressful for everyone. And then what about the bands that are playing? Doesn't the band need a crowd? And you say to the freaking atmosphere, it doesn't matter about that right now. The bands can get other gigs, and the crowds can go and do what they need to do right now. I need them to be gone so I can hear what my soulmate is trying to tell me. And the cloud is like, well, since you put it that way, let me do it for you. And boom. Oh, and the lightning and the storms and the screaming and the sirens of the tornado that approaches because you just summoned it. But you stay still because you're patient and you're calculated and you're intentional. And as your soulmate tries to run away with the crowd, you take their hand and say, stay. This ain't for us. It's for them. So somebody told me that. One of my freaking exes told me that I be talking like I'm in the ball, like I'm running the ball, like today on what we are going to do today, and I pose for me, and pose and walk for me, and I think I hear that in a lot of my earlier episodes. If you don't know about the ball, then it's not for you to know. But have you been watching TV? I mean, do you know what's going on? Anyways, we can get into that story down the road. I'm just saying, what if all of a sudden the universe comes through and clears those crowd member hoes? and now it's just y'all two. The real question is, what are you going to do with it? Listen, because once you put something into the universe, I had a great conversation today with my operational manager, the operational manager who gets the operations done and gets them done every time. Oh, and she's John Blaze. And she's going through her own process, but we eventually get into this conversation about what you say comes back. But I want to add to that. What you say and what you manifest can only come back in a proper way if who you're saying it to and what you're saying it to can hear you without distraction. So clear the space, clear the distractions, clear it all. Otherwise, it might just be a little bit hard to hear. The Cupid and the Pitbull podcast is now on YouTube, and I'm very excited for y'all to be here. I want y'all to spread this if you're feeling it. I want you to subscribe. I have more stories coming, and I think the stories and the guests and this experience is actually much more impactful than I had initially calculated. It's helping me a lot. And hopefully you can say the same. Let's get into it.
If you lose your focus now, so quietly and find my deep, and we'll finish this with some style. So away these days, but why don't you sit back? If you approve, then smile. Anything that you need, let me know I got you. Sit back, don't make a sound, just smile. Can't nobody tell you doing so well. We're getting to the part where we wanna yell, but ain't nobody gotta know we're sitting here about to relax, right? I feel like coming up and your eyes go shut, and I can tell you're ready to finally
All the information that you need is in the description. If you have some feedback or just questions, or, what's so exciting is I've also been dusting off my vocals to record my next album, and hopefully you stay tuned for that. It's called The Maroon Room, and it's about freedom, peace, and clarity. Okay, bye.